Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Harrington. Tonight on the Now Bakersfield, a local school taking part in a new program that helps feed those in need. How the Waste Hunger Not Food campaign is teaching students the power of giving. And Disaster Preparedness Month begins this week. We have the details on the events happening locally to make sure you're ready for any emergency. That's all ahead on the Now Bakersfield. Chris?
Let's check out today's lineup here on the Nile, and child care costs are soaring. More than 20 grand a year for some families. Today we're taking a look at different ways to cut that cost. And we have a warning before you make another donation to a store like Goodwill, because you might be putting some personal information at risk and you don't want to be doing that. And we obviously all want a good night's rest, and your pillow can play a huge role in that. We're taking a look at some of the best pillows so you can get your beauty rest. So we got a lot to talk to you on this Wednesday.
Thanks, Chris. According to Public Health, 40% of food in America is being wasted, and we're feeling the effect of that right here in Kern County. Bakersfield ranks #1 in the nation for people in a metropolitan area who don't have access to the food they need. The Now's Alyssa Flores shows us how a new local program is making use of food that would otherwise be thrown away. Alyssa?
Yeah, well, not all of the food that kids are picking up in the cafeteria line actually gets eaten. And through Public Health's Waste Hunger Not Food program, every day that extra food is now going to local food pantries. In some cases, as much as 70 pounds of food just from one school that would end up in the trash.
It's lunchtime at Cesar Chavez Elementary. Students loading up their trays, required by the school to load up on milk, veggies, protein, and grains.
Some kids just don't want to eat it.
And what doesn't get eaten ends up in the trash until now.
If you don't eat your lunch, then you can donate it to people who can't afford food.
Cesar Chavez Elementary, the first school in the Bakersfield City School District to take part in Waste Hunger Not Food.
It's going a lot better than I expected.
A public health program that guides students to set aside their unopened food rather than throwing it out.
They are for people who don't have food, so we could pull some of our food in what's not open and give it to them.
It's surprising to know and see how socially conscious they are to the environment and things like that. And it's just something that the generation that's coming is very aware of.
Kern County Public Health spearheading the effort to intercept that extra food from being wasted.
Because that's helping other people that are hungry and that didn't have food.
Making the most of leftovers and reminding kids to think twice.
Before they throw something away or anything away that they can donate or give to anyone else that is in need, it's this moment here is what they're gonna think about.
We have a system.
Waste Hunger Not Food vans make the rounds daily.
So just in this crate we have 22 pounds of food, which is awesome.
Picking up several crates of food.
This is really good, healthy food that we're excited to get to the community.
Then hauling it off to local food pantries. On this day, it's off to Catholic Charities downtown.
They provide food boxes and bags to local families.
We have 4 of these boxes.
How could you say no to an opportunity when someone wants to just hand you a donation?
Catholic Charities says the prepackaged items from schools are a perfect fit for the people they serve.
So many people come in and don't have the opportunity to utilize can openers or cooking facilities.
Not only benefiting the hungry, but leaving students with a lasting lesson.
There's so many families out there whose kids don't have the opportunity to eat daily, and so to be able to pass that along and pay it forward.
When you donate, then you're saving someone else because you don't know how long it's been since that person ate or how long they've had a meal. It might be their first meal in maybe weeks.
The program all possible because of a $200,000 grant from Cal Recycle. There will be 5 more BCSD schools that are going to participate in the program, and that starts on September 10th. You can check out our website, turnto23.com, to see if your child's school is one of them. For the Now Bakersfield, Alyssa Flores, 23 ABC.
Great story. Thanks for that, Alyssa. Emergency response teams want to make sure you are prepared for a natural disaster. Tomorrow is the official kickoff to Disaster Preparedness Month. The campaign is aimed at helping families develop their own plan in case of an emergency, with the hope that they can help themselves in case professional help is unavailable. The Kern County Fire Department is partnering with CSUB to host a disaster preparedness event on September 15th, which will also include multiple county departments and community organizations. For more information, just visit our website, turnto23.com. Instagram is putting in more safeguards to protect users from fake accounts. They'll allow people to request verifications to designate official accounts. Now, this is similar to Twitter's own verification options. Instagram is also adding an About This Account feature for these users. This will allow for more transparency for celebrities and public figures. Chris?
Well, most parents try to start saving for college when their child's young. A new study by the Center for Michigan shows that might be difficult. Check this out. In Massachusetts, families with 2 kids, only 2, paying more than $34,000 for child care a year. Yeah, the Now's Annie Taylor looking at ways to save money.
Good morning.
Changing diapers, fixing breakfast, and putting shoes on is all a part of Yvette Schilling's morning routine to get the kids ready for daycare.
Reality hits when you actually become a parent and you're working extra hard and you're working full time and so is your husband.
It's a challenge to pay for childcare because of how expensive it can be.
It's something that you really have to be mindful about and you really have to know how to budget well to make that work. It's a lot of money.
On average, parents will pay nearly $400 a week for 2 kids in childcare. Childcare.com says that's more than $20,000 a year. Figuring out how to pay for daycare has been a struggle.
We don't have any family around, so that becomes a little bit of a challenge.
Hiring a nanny, Yvette says, would have cost her almost triple what she's paying for daycare.
Is it worth me working full time so we can pay $20,000, or should I just stay home and watch the kids myself? Good job. Okay, you stay put while I pack your sister.
So many parents have a hard time figuring out ways to save money on childcare. According to Care.com, one option is to sign up for a dependent care account through your employer. You can set aside up to $5,000 tax-free pay for childcare. If your employer doesn't offer a flexible spending account, take advantage of the child care tax credit. Each family can itemize child care expenses up to $6,000 a year and apply a tax credit to it. Or, to offset costs, nanny sharing is becoming popular. It's where 2 families share a nanny and split the cost.
I'll sell the clothes off my back to do what I need to do as a parent to make sure our kids are safe.
Both options take a little bit of time, but like most parents, Yvette says they would do anything for their kids.
So, yes, $20,000, big deal, but in the long run, we do what we have to do.
For the Now, I'm Annie Taylor.
Andy, thank you. Let's get back to our lineup here. And a warning for you before you make a donation to Goodwill. Yeah, you might be putting some personal information at risk. We'll tell you about that next. You're watching The Now. sporting goods seeing a big drop in sales. Experts say it's because of changes it made to gun sales in the wake of the Parkland school shooting. Dick's stopped selling assault-style rifles, high-capacity magazines, and stopped people under 21 from buying guns. President Trump unblocking more Twitter users, not really because he wants to. A U.S. court ruled that the president's tweets were a public forum. A judge said that blocking people because of their views violated free speech. Well, this weekend is considered one of the best to get a new car, Labor Day weekend. Car experts at Edmunds say the end of the summer means the start of clearance season. Some cars could see discounts by as much as $12,000. Not bad. Well, we've either heard of this phrase before, or maybe you say it yourself, that you need to get your steps in for the day. Well, if you have one of those fitness trackers, you are familiar with that 10,000 step goal. Sometimes you reach it. Let's face it, sometimes you don't. And the makers of Google Fit are finding out a lot of people are actually giving up. Those 10,000 steps seem almost impossible to do. Now they're creating some new fitness goals. Google Fit now says people should get 2.5 hours of moderate activity and 1 hour and 15 minutes of vigorous activity a week. So, while this activity is translating into heart points, and it's supposed to line up with the recommendations of the American Heart Association and World Health Organization. So really, what's with this change? Well, a Canadian study showed that taking 10,000 slow steps, just not the same as taking 10,000 quick ones. I mean, let's say you do an activity like yoga, an activity where you're really just staying in the same place. Well, even though you are working out, you won't get any steps or any points. The makers of Google Fit say, while it is good to get your steps in, you start to really see results when you do more intense activities, well, which is another reason they are changing those goals. Well, Domino's helping fix up roads. The pizza chain giving out grants in 11 states to repave roads. They plan to give one in every state, and they just extended their nomination period. So anyone can nominate their town online at pavingforpizza.com. All you have to do is put in your zip code and an email address. Well, pizza, groceries, well, whatever you order on Amazon, it'll likely be delivered without a driver. Over the next decade, self-driving vehicles will become the primary source for all deliveries. Analytics company Global Data says that's based on who's investing in autonomous cars. Brands like Kroger, Toyota. Well, the research also says it doesn't think driverless delivery will change how we shop online for food. It'll likely benefit supermarkets the most, who won't have to hire as many people.
Well, car sales are slipping around the world. New car sales are slowing in the world's biggest auto markets after nearly a decade of growth. Exports are pointing to trade tensions in the U.S., China, and Europe. Now, car makers and auto parts suppliers have recently started to warn about the possibility of lower profits. Home prices on the rise. They're up 6.3% compared to last year. In the latest Case-Shiller Home Price Index, now things are even hotter in places like Las Vegas, Seattle, and San Francisco, where home prices are up well over 10%. 23 ABC is aiming to put more books into the hands of local children, so we're teaming up with the Kern Literacy Council to make it all possible through the If You Give a Child a Book campaign. We're also asking for the community to get involved this year by donating money and sending in your pictures. With every dollar raised, we're helping getting books into the hands of kids living in poverty right here in our city. For more information on how you can get involved to either donate or send a picture, just head over to our website, turnto23.com. Well, sip and savor the end of summer during the champagne tasting event at the Padre Hotel. Tomorrow, 8 different champagne producers will be pouring a variety of their offerings to wish this year's summer goodbye. It's happening from 6:30 to 9 in the Prospect Lounge, located on the main floor of the hotel. There will be live music by Lonely Avenue from 7 to 9, and appetizers will be served. The cost is $65 per person, and tickets are on sale right now. All right, well, taking a live look outside, gorgeous sunset once again, and even better temperatures, right, Leah?
Oh, Jessica, today was a beautiful day. Listen to this. This time last year, we were at 112 degrees. Thank goodness we are not there. We peaked at 89 degrees today here in Bakersfield. Temperatures cooling on down now. We can see 80s dominating our valley, 60s for a lot of our higher elevations. Breckenridge, Pine Mountain Club, both at 60 degrees right now. And air quality pretty good today. today. Tomorrow we're looking at a slight worsening for our air quality, but still staying in that moderate range. So an AQI of 87 expected for tomorrow. And as we look at tomorrow's highs, staying nice and mild. Our seasonal average 94 degrees right now. We're looking at these lower 90s for our valley for tomorrow. So 91 degrees expected in Bakersfield, still staying nice and cool, respectively speaking, for our this time of year. Our southern mountains in those lower 80s. Tehachapi looking at 83 degrees. Fraser Park looking at 81 degrees. And then our Kern River Valley, some 80s popping up. Kernville looking like you could break through those 90s for tomorrow. Our desert communities, you're looking at those 90s with some triple digits popping up. Sorry, Ridgecrest, you're looking at 101 for tomorrow. Some afternoon, evening breezes picking up for our mountain and our desert communities. Deserts could see gusts up to 25 miles per hour tomorrow afternoon and into tomorrow evening. As we take a look ahead at our 9-day forecast, next couple of days stay pretty mild. Thursday, Friday, those lower 90s. By Saturday, we hit that seasonal average. Labor Day weekend looking to warm on up. And then by next weekend, take a look at that. We are getting close to triple digits, but I'm holding off on calling those triple digits quite yet. It's looking like we will cap out in those 90s, thankfully. All right, stay with us. The Now Bakersfield. We'll be right back.
Well, let's get to the Now newsfeed, an update to a story that we told you about here on the Now, that a Texas nurse, she's now been fired after posting about a toddler testing positive for measles. She posted on an anti-vaccination website, the hospital saying she posted some protected health information. This one here is just a sad story about the impact that humans have on sea life. More than 300 endangered sea turtles found dead on the Mexican coast. Authorities say they were entangled in an illegal fishing net, and now they're trying to figure out who's responsible for this. Well, expect gas prices to go down a bit this fall. AAA expecting a gallon of gas to cost around $2.70 by then. That's 14 cents less than what we pay right now, according to the national average. It's about a quarter down from the year's highest price. Well, when we donate clothes or household items to a place like Goodwill, it tends to usually make us feel pretty good. But as the Now's Chris Welch tells us, you better be careful, because you might be donating your identity to thieves.
It might happen more often than you think.
So we get all kinds of donations here at Goodwill. We see credit cards, we see passports, birth certificates, social security cards.
Sensitive documents, often with personal information, accidentally left in donations dropped off at places like this Goodwill store.
Right, things that you wouldn't want out there, and they end up with us a lot of cases. So we see things tucked inside bed sheets, tucked inside books, little boxes. Oftentimes we think that people just forgot about it. They didn't know that it was in that item, or perhaps they're donating something on behalf of a family member who passed away. We see that a lot, unfortunately.
Different Goodwill locations have different policies, but Travis Carlson with Goodwill of Denver says at their locations,
so this is our loss prevention box.
They keep sensitive information locked away in an office.
Credit cards, driver's licenses, certificates, checks, things like that.
But experts say you shouldn't rely on the place you take used items to safely dispose of personal information. And in fact, it could be putting you at serious risk.
Folks just need to be very wary.
Colorado's Attorney General runs a consumer fraud unit. She says all someone needs is a small piece of information. Once they have that, they can usually find more. And they can use that info to impersonate you and get a loan, even use it to obtain costly medical services.
And I don't like to scare people, but I do want them to be very self-conscious about keeping that personal information confidential.
Bottom line from the team at Goodwill:
before you donate something, go through it all and just make sure that what you're donating is what you want to donate.
Reporting for The Now, I'm Chris Welch.
All right, Chris, thanks. And we've heard about this one before, children getting their identity stolen, and it's happening before they're old enough to open a bank account. A new law aims to help families stop ID fraud. Now, the law is going to take effect next month, and families can check and freeze their children's credit files anytime without having to pay. Now, you need to go to identitytheft.gov to get started. Click on child identity theft. Now, the first red flag to watch for, if your child has a credit report, they shouldn't at an early age. So the website will show you how to get a hold of credit reports through Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Now, if your child does not have a credit file, experts recommend you start one and you freeze it. Clean credit files are usually attractive to criminals, so if you can get control of the file before they do, they are less likely to get their hands on it. Families can start using the free service September 21st. And in our lineup next, we see commercials all the time for those kind of wacky shaped pillows. Well, which ones actually help you get a good night's sleep? A new breakdown when The Now continues. Well, people spend a lot of money trying to get a good night's sleep, and that includes special pillows. We've all seen the infomercials, right? But do they really help? And now's Annie Taylor checking into this for us.
Consumer Reports talked to a couple of sleep doctors about various pillows out there. Forget flat, it's all about curves and weird shapes. Like this one that looks sort of like a wave. Oddly enough, it's supposed to prevent neck pain. Both doctors told Consumer Reports they work for back and side sleepers only if you find one that is the right height. Too high or too low and it could actually cause neck pain. What about this one, though? It's shaped like a brick of cheese. It's the wedge, and it's actually used like sleep medicine. If you're sick, it can really help, says the doctors, because it relieves sinus pressure, and it also helps with acid reflux. One of the main reasons, though, people wake up at night is because their head is so hot, according to the doctors. Buckwheat pillows can keep you cool, and that's the plus. But the docs aren't convinced it will give you the right support, and it might also be too noisy, one pointed out. And my kind of pillow right here, for those like me who love to cuddle their pillow, it's the L shape. It can help take pressure off your shoulders because it elevates the arm, and because it can go between the legs and it can help with lower back and hip pain. But Chris, if you can do the L-shaped pillow and make it cold all through the night, I would have the best night's sleep.
There is nothing better than the cool side on the other side of the pillow.
Yeah, you just have to keep switching
just
it back
and forth, back and forth. Eventually you fall asleep.
Yeah.
All right, Annie, thank you. And we know that coal is in transition, and that's left thousands of people in the U.S. without a job or forced to find some new work. So we hit the biggest mining towns in eastern Kentucky to see how former miners are faring. And you might be surprised by what we found.
I decided it was time for something different. Right now it's baking donuts, which is a huge change.
Yeah, from the mines to donut decorating, even coding. Tomorrow on The Now, we're going to introduce you to 3 former coal industry workers who say they have no plans to go back.
And tonight, coming up on 23 ABC News at 11, a strange discovery. Oh, yeah, you see that? Led to a big bang off Washington's coast. It was all caught on camera, as you can tell. We'll have the details on the investigation into why an old mine turned up in the water there. Again, that's tonight on 23 ABC News at 11. In the meantime, though, we can't get enough of these temperatures and these beautiful sunsets. Last night was great. Again, another one tonight.
Yeah, Jessica, we peaked at 89 degrees here in Bakersfield. Spectacular. We haven't felt temperatures that cool since June. We're at 86 degrees right now, and tomorrow we're looking at pretty similar highs. So those cooler temperatures below average, 91 degrees for Bakersfield, hanging out in those lower 90s for our valley, Kern River Valley dancing around that 90-degree mark, and then our southern mountains in those lower 80s. These cooler temperatures stick around for a couple days, and then as we head into the weekend, we will see a couple degrees of warming for our Labor Day weekend.
But even that wasn't too bad.
No.
As of right now, we're in the 90s.
Yes.
So fingers crossed that doesn't change. That's going to do it for us on The Now Bakersfield. We'll see you back here tonight at 11.